gonna show you how to do some gardening in the Ozarks. It's about the principles behind the way I set my garden up are the same principles that we use to run our businesses and run my finance and real estate portfolio. Ray Dalio lives his life by principles. He even wrote a book about it. The book is linked here. And he is one of the most influential people that says you should live a thoughtful life based on principles. So with that, we're gonna get into my examples. Why am I standing and talking to you about gardening wearing a rice hat? If you want to know about efficient hats, you can comment below and I might make an efficient hat video. But in short, I wear whatever the hell I want to wear. You mind your own damn business. On a serious note, some of you are joining us because you saw me become a millionaire in a short amount of time. Some of you are business owners who want to know how to improve running your business or run it free. And some of you might actually be here for gardening. Well, to the 4 of you, welcome. What I can tell you is that the way that I think about the way the garden is the same reason I basically have 2 companies on autopilot, and it's the same reason of how I became a millionaire so quickly. I'm using gardening as an example to teach the lessons that might appeal to a different audience so they might have the ability to become financially independent. What I'm going to get into is going to share with you how the way my garden is set up, the principles behind it, directly impact how I applied thinking to my finances to become a millionaire so quickly. First thing is, if you can do thinking up front, it reduces work down the road. This garden that I set up, you can see the origins right here. I haven't watered it, I haven't picked it. The only thing I did was I planted stuff in it and I made sure stuff went up the trellis. The way this entire garden is set up is ridiculous in the fact that it's a no effort, no work garden. I haven't watered it once, it's mid-July, and it appears to be doing obscenely well. Same principles that are used in this garden are directly applicable to me and hundreds of others in finances, in real estate, in job sites. And I'm gonna share those with you here and go into why that is. The long and short of it is, this is a no-work garden. I haven't watered it, I don't weed it, I don't do anything. Nature takes its course and does that kind of stuff. And how I got there was I used my brain a little bit on the front end, so I never have to do any work on the back end. So, first one is that this is called a Ruth Stout garden. And the Ruth Stout garden, if you look, this is covered in hay. So there's a video here called Chop and Drop. And this died in the fall last year. We dropped everything on the ground, and as it decomposed, we covered it with hay, and that is the fertilizer. I don't do weed prep, I don't do anything. Second thing we do is we have planted selectively plants that will need full shade that bloom earlier in the front, and then plants that trellis are all along the back of this trellis that trellis up and over. This is called a trellis tunnel. Lean manufacturing, this reduces motion waste. What happens is as the plants grow up, you can see the plant grows on the top, gets plenty of sunshine, but then everything below it right here is at waist or arm or chest height. So it's very low burden for me to take care of it or pick all the fruits. And as you can see, you have a massive amount of stuff that grows. And again, this is no work, no effort on my part. I did not go out of my way to care about this garden, to baby this garden, to do anything. I planted the plants and walked off. Here I am now, 4 or 5 months later, just collecting the fruits of my harvest. You can think a little bit more, and you can do that with your investments, with your business practices, or with your garden. So just like your finances, once the system's in place, everything should be low effort, and you can take the principles that I applied to this garden directly to your business and to your finances or real estate portfolio. It's those principles that I have employed to do this, and it's so important because I do so little work in everything I do, yet lots of things that I do are successful. And it's so important that we spread that knowledge, and those 2-second lean principles that went to making this garden successful are the exact principles that I used. And so well, even though the workplace is different, the results are different. No effort or work went into most of this, except for me planting it the day that I brought it back from the store. Now this is the 3rd harvest of the season that I've had of this green bean plant. But as it keeps growing, you see little new shoots are being formed right here. It's going to keep growing, and I'm just going to trellis those back and forth. as this grows, all these little pods here and cucumbers are gonna be another cucumber. There's a little baby one right here, smaller than my pinky. Well, it's gonna get to this size, be chilling right there, easy for the pickings. So again, putting some forethought in advance has led to little to no effort gardening, producing tons of food, which is something that I was interested in. And remember, I'm no gardener. I'm not trained in it. I have some YouTube videos I've watched. That's pretty much it. But this will basically continuously produce large amounts of food that I can as I see fit throughout the year, and then have some saved in the winter if I want, just to supplement my food budget. And again, this all came from a $2 plant. Other people you'll see, and I planted a comparison plant here, same plant but one that doesn't trellis, they're doing stuff on the ground, right? They're gonna have to bend down. Look how much motion. Look, I went from a standing position to a crouching position. And here I am doing a green bean harvesting down here, right? And that's the same thing. All I had to do was choose a different plant that suited my needs better and give it the right system, and I would be doing far less work. This plant I intentionally chose as the comparison plant. While it seems to be doing well, it is a lot more effort for me to get down here. I'm doing a lot more fiddling and sticking my arms in there, trying to search. In 2-second lean senses, we would call this overprocessing. So the less I can overprocess when it comes to my gardening, the easier it is for me to do things, because I don't like work. I'm one of the laziest people you know. So with ease, I need to, with ease, run my businesses. With ease, become a millionaire. With ease, have amazing personal relationships with friends and family. With finances, people always use the expression, you plant your seeds and you let it grow to fruition. Well, one of the big things I want to highlight is that just planting seeds doesn't mean you're going to be successful. Putting the right systems and processes in place can be successful, and you can do as much work or as little work as possible. Now, the people who make sure the soil pH is good and they do all this extra effort and they weed and they till every day, do they have better results than me? Some of them might, but I have probably 80 to 90% as good of results for them as they do, but I don't think about it at all. So if you auto draft your stuff into BTSAX, BTI, FZROX, it'd be like if I planted the trellis in the back and it grew without me thinking about it, and then all of a sudden here I am harvesting these fruits right here. That's the same as if I, for $500 a month, auto draft into FZROX and it's building my wealth without me ever thinking about it. I didn't think about this. I didn't water them. I didn't pay any attention. I literally planted them, AKA setting up my auto draft once. Here I am months and months and months later, and I'm just harvesting what I put effort in the first time. Now, what if I planted the plant and then was immediately frustrated because it wasn't doing anything? Well, a lot of people do that with their investments. They're freaking out. Hey Hugh, I bought this house and I'm not rich yet. What's going on? Well, what's going on is keep investing, keep planting more plants, figure out what you need to do. You know, you might need to learn a little bit, right? I learned about this trellis system from research and YouTube videos. You should be learning about this investment, about this system from research and YouTube videos. Again, this plant and this garden is exactly the way I treat this garden, is how I treat my investments. I don't think about them. I just enjoy the fruits of the labor. If I wanted to, I could take these seeds and start planting them and have my wealth multiply. And the systems and processes that I use, that I use to create this garden are the same systems and processes, at least the thought process behind them, as that I set up my businesses. Too many of you are like, oh, I'm gonna buy real estate, and when I buy real estate, I'll be rich. Well, they don't treat their company like a business. They don't treat their portfolios like businesses. They don't actually go past that effort in the beginning and think how things are impactful. So you wanna be dynamic. You want to be able to think through lots of scenarios, and you want to keep adapting. And you know what? This plant could die. So I'm going to make sure I have backups ready to go in case that does happen. That's the same as being diversified with your portfolio. Again, so many people use the analogy of investing as like planting plants or planting a garden, and there's good reason for that. The parallels are similar. planting multiple plants for me is diversifying, well, one, different flavors that I want to eat, and two, if one plant doesn't make it, I have a different plant entirely that might suit my needs, that again, because I did it right and thought a little bit in the front end, I don't have to worry about it in the back end, and I just get to harvest whatever I want with little to no effort. Again, make it simple on yourself. There's no reason that we should have to struggle with this abundance mindset, right? If one of these plants fail, I have different ones, right? I have different diversity, right? I have to look at, this could be crypto, I could be in real estate, I could be in stock. This guy right here might be my Tesla portfolio, right? It's doing well, but it just as easily could have gone the bad way. I had no idea of knowing, so because of that, here I am planting and preparing for next year. I've got plants that are mid to late summer plants coming in, growing right now that I didn't plan for, right? Over here, I've got a different kind of tomato that's just planting and growing. They're just starting to fruit now. Again, take that effort, that extra little bit of time to see if you can make that difference in your portfolios. So I'm done with my haul for this week. Next week it'll be a similar haul. But what are some principles, right? I did a lot of finance that was in theory. Here's some specific lean principles that were used here. I picked a strategy that used low to no effort, thereby limiting the overprocessing involved in traditional style gardening. Another one is I reduced my motion waste by an incredible amount. If I had to bend over to pick every single thing in here, that's 36 inches down I'm bending, 36 inches back up I'm bending, times about 200 or 300 pieces that I picked today. I did none of that. At waist level, I was able to clip, collect all of this food. There is probably a few miles difference. 200 times 36 inches there, times 36 inches back up is 259,000 inches. In feet, that is 21,000 feet. In miles, that is 4 miles of bending I saved myself already by thinking my way through a garden from months and months ago. That's the difference between a standard gardener and what I'm doing. You can apply that to your business. An ounce of preparation is better than a pound of regret. Someone else who's really big on principles is Ray Dalio. For those of you who don't know, you should definitely check him out. He is one of the leading business people who revolutionized the finance industry. He talks about living his life by a set of principles. And it's so important that these principles that I apply to this are applicable to literally everything that we do. And you guys should live your life by principles that are universal and not just by processes or by the flavor of the month. All right, guys, if you like this kind of stuff, I'll keep teaching these principles. We're going to get back into finance stuff after this, but I wanted to take a shot back and say, everything you do, are you intentional about it? Can you do it better? Is there a simpler way? I think like that all the time, and that's why I'm successful in many areas of my life. Like and subscribe if you're interested in the gardening stuff, but mainly business principles and finance principles and real estate principles.